Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's up, Bobby?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm trying to deal with these. I tell you, Saberson did a massive overhaul of their site, and it's just taken me a while to. I've been playing with it, and we're gonna do a video with
him tomorrow.
with Jordan tomorrow.
Yeah,
and he can help me with some of the stuff, and already my projections are not going up on the new Saberson through DFS, so it's a little bit of a, it's going to be. I think it'll be a couple of days of growing pains before everybody's up to speed with this thing, but whatever.
Yeah, I think it's just important for everybody else to just have the heads up. So I appreciate you bringing that up because I do think that and even just using it's a little bit different. So
it is a little bit different.
We'll do the video tomorrow, but I suggest you guys watch it. It will probably be a 15 to 20 minute video, maybe a little bit longer, but.
Oh, it'll be longer than that.
What?
I think it'll be longer than that.
That was what Jordan said, but maybe you're probally right.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go through builds and stuff like that. I'm gonna be monopolizing his time, unfortunately.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I sent you a message that I have a 1:30 thing tomorrow Eastern time. So
you have 1:30, so you have to be gone by 1:30.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm happy to do whatever earlier or any of that stuff. So
no, we'll do. But I think the Saber thing is important. We'll do it at 12 o'clock, and if we finish that early, then we can record at 12:45, whatever.
Yeah.
Is there?
It would be more important for us to try and get a golf thing out there rather than a.
It's a 30-person slate. I don't know.
I know, but isn't there there's some serious strategy involved? We joke about these small things, but leave 3,000 on the table, play two of the guys under.
All right. We'll put something out.
Even if it's 10 minutes long.
Is there an early baseball slate tomorrow or no?
There is an early baseball slate tomorrow. I don't know what time it's going to start. Whether it's going to be the 9:30 or.
Is it big? I hope not.
It's like 4 games, I think. I don't know. It's a little
weird. That's enough that it's a pain in the ass. Okay, we got to deal with that.
It's a little bit annoying. But what's up to everybody in chat? Good to see you guys all here. We'll talk about today's slate. I do want to mention, Pingalore mentioned. I want to mention about Pingalore because I know a friend of mine worked at his company. He was more like a little brother to me. He lived on my couch for a few years. But Mark Mester, I want to ask Pingalore because Pingalore, I know where he works and he does sports coverage. But he's my friend worked. I don't think they work together much. But Pingalore, let me know how well you know Mark Mester. I know that he doesn't work there anymore, but he was always like a little brother who I haven't really kept track of much in the last 10 years, other than the occasional happy birthdays and stuff like that. But I knew him well years ago. All right. Anyway, so he's saying LOL to that one because Mark got fired for sticking up for somebody else who had been fired or something for the company. I don't even want to talk about the company, what it is, but whatever. We'll get rid of it there. Pingalore, you can DM me the answer to that question. Anyway, talking about the slate sheets, what are you doing? Because I'm still deciding between what I feel like are a bunch of very viable stacks, and I'm having a hard time not preferring Atlanta. But like I said, there's plenty of other options to go with if you don't want to go that route.
Well, I'm just going to go through. I'll just tell you exactly what I'm doing then. On DraftKings, I'll go through my exposures and then my big buy-ins or whatever it is. So first, I guess with the hitting, my two highest owned stacks are the Dodgers and the Royals. Two totally different things, right? The thing about whatchamacallit, the Dodgers, if I'm not mistaken, they have like a dude that makes it easy, right? They have this Bush guy 2400. I don't know if he's any good, whatever, but I definitely have a good amount of Dodgers, and I have a good amount of KC, and then I couldn't help myself. I have a decent amount of Seattle also. So it's Dodgers, KC, Seattle, and just behind that are Atlanta and St. Louis, and I force-fed myself a little Arizona just for funsies, like I kind of mentioned earlier. One thing I did, by the way, just for transparency, is I messed around with a little more variance, a little less variance, a little more variability, I guess. I went min 3 uniques today. I was watching the SaberSim recap of the new version, and Kip's on saying that they really like the idea of going to min 2 uniques after you build. So I actually, because I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, I went to min 3 uniques just to see what it would do. Mm-hmm. And just listen, I'll let you know what it looks like. But as far as stats go, it's on DraftKings, Dodgers the most, then KC, and then Seattle. When it comes to the pitching, my top wait, where's pitching? Where's exposure? Exposure is over here. Yeah, so it's the guys I mentioned: Giolito, Snell, Rodriguez. But I will say that currently, right now, in the big buy-in, we have the aforementioned Michael Clevenger. So there you go.
As do I, unfortunately, in the big buy-in right now.
Sorry to hear it. Sorry to hear it.
So it doesn't have to be one of us got to win. It's going to be both of us got to win. I kind of
I got 20. I got like 25% Seattle, and then I have Clevenger as my big buy-in. So there you go.
I'm trying to find a way to see the game by game thing. I'm having trouble because I usually like to sort and look through teams and stuff like that, and I don't even know how to do it on the news.
Yeah, you got to be able to. He actually mentioned that in the message, how to get the team view in, and now I forget what he said.
Yeah, it's all right. I'll figure it out some other time. Yeah. But anyway, so I have the Clevenger thing. I'm curious to see how high owned Atlanta ends up really, because I do think that Pittsburgh, Atlanta seems to be the most natural way that one would want to build on this slate.
Okay.
And I'm afraid that that's going to be too chalky. So where I'm playing Atlanta, I'm playing at least 2 Mets.
Ooh.
And I like it's taking advantage of the same thing. Okay, like it's the hot weather. It's Elder has been all over the map lately. He had a good start his last time out. He's been basically pretty awful other than that. Atlanta's bullpen is kind of beaten up, and they don't have anything to play for, which is kind of like you might just see some other faces. I'm gonna start targeting against Atlanta a little bit more than I did earlier in the season, just because they really don't have a whole lot to go after. That's also something that scares me about playing them. If they're up 10-0 in the fourth, are they going to continue playing their guys? Maybe we're a little early for that, because especially Acuna is still trying to win the MVP. Well, he's going to win the MVP. But I don't know. So I do prefer Atlanta over everyone else. The only issue I have with the Dodgers is the fact that 10 miles an hour wind blowing in from center field is no fun in 71 degrees. It's actually the worst game they've played hitting weather-wise in a while. And that's the only part that bothers me for full stacks, because we want those home runs. And yes, guys can get there without hitting home runs, especially against Syndergaard. But you got to realize the Dodgers only have a 5-run total here for a reason. If this wind was pointed the other direction, or if it was 10 degrees hotter or anything like that, the Dodgers would have probably a higher total than Atlanta today. So I'm struggling with that. I have the Dodgers, Atlanta, Seattle, like you do, and then Pittsburgh and the Mets as the teams that I'm basically using my players from, and then some offshoots on like FanDuel just because of the pricing. I'm just going to play the Yankees. I think it's a high enough upside spot, and they're cheap enough to where we can play them. Now, I know we felt like that for a long time and they've still continued just to be terrible, but I'm going to gamble tonight and I'm going to play the Yankees, and I'm doing that on FanDuel because of the pricing.
Okay.
So that's sort of my outlook for the overall slate. And again, it's just, I like Josiah Gray as a real life pitcher. That's the funny part. But you have the worst, second worst bullpen in baseball behind him. They don't really have any reason to extend Josiah Gray unless he's just mowing people down. You know what I mean? He could literally if he gets in any trouble, they're just going to rest his arm and save him until they eventually want to use him as a real pitcher. So I am on the side of, I prefer, if I'm going to stack the Yankees, I don't want a 5-man. So that's why I'm doing it on FanDuel, so I can just do it with a 4-man, and they are super, super cheap. All right, so we got a lot of comments in the chat already. I don't know if there's a whole lot of questions, but a lot of stuff we can get to for sure.
Sure, let's see what we got here.
Okay, a bunch of what's up to everybody. Who you all looking at a pitcher? So that's an interest. For me, I didn't mention my pitchers. I have on DraftKings. I have on FanDuel, Snell is my number one. On DraftKings, Grayson Rodriguez and Clevenger are in my main lineup right now, and Snell and Verlander are in my secondary build. And I'm gonna get some other pieces of probably a little Giolito and probably a little who else did I have on my list that I liked? Probably a little bit of Bobby Miller, but not much. Maybe Oviedo, but maybe even a Josiah Gray. I just have all those other guys ranked as, oh, this could be a really good play, but probably I'm getting like 15 fantasy points, and that's just how I feel about almost all the pitching tonight. I don't see other than Snell's upside, and he's just a lot more expensive, obviously.
What do you do? Oh, so you're not doing anything with Rodon, right?
I'm not using Rodon. I there's going to be a time where he breaks the slate. I'm not going to let him do it as I'm not going to bet on him doing it as chalk when he hasn't had one game that we would want this year. and he's coming off of the IL. There's just no reason for me to overplay that play. I'd rather take shots with the cheaper guys, with Grayson Rodriguez, with Clevenger, as we mentioned, with even Wade Miley and Hogan Harris if I wanted to pay down. Like, I just would rather be playing the pay all the way down. I don't like the guys in the 7K range. And if I was going to play any of them, it would be Brian Wu, not him.
Yeah.
That's just my take. And there goes Scott with the question. What do you think about Mets on the small field? I love the Mets. I think the Mets, maybe not a 5-man. Maybe for me, they rate to be better as a 3-man stack. Use Vogelbach in some, use Alonso in most. And then maybe Lindor, and then you get one cheap bat, or Nimmo as a one-off. I found him in my FanDuel big buy-in because he's reasonable. So I like them. I just don't know if I want the full 5-man, but I'm okay with it. I didn't go for the full 5-man myself.
Yeah, I really don't. I don't want to say I don't like it, but I'm really struggling with the Sabres right now. I'm just not used to it yet. We'll work it out. I mean,
we'll work it out. We'll figure everything out.
It's not for you to work out. It's I have to like work it out when I have to have Jordan teach me how to use this thing again.
Yeah.
Like,
we got Adam asking best mini stack with the Braves, and I had mentioned mine because I want to get off of the chalk if I'm going to play the Braves, because I still think they end up higher owned, especially at the higher buy-ins than most people think. But I would play my favorite stack that fits in well with them, and I get what I want, would be the Mets. Unfortunately, that means you have to, probably you're not playing Matt Olson. So if you want to play Matt Olson, the team that I would want to pair with the most with the Braves would probably Pittsburgh is the team that rates the best. But I think that it's probably you might be better off getting a slightly lower owned Seattle, as you mentioned. So that would be what I would say. Do you have a particular mini stack? I know you don't look at it that way. You like to look at stacks, but
no, not at all.
You don't see anything with the mini stacks. Okay.
No.
And by the way, I'm not gonna fault you for playing the Dodgers either. And just for what it's worth, if literally there was no wind in Cleveland, I would have the Dodgers as the number 1 team on this slate. I'm just not going to play them in that situation, especially against a high-ball pitcher.
I got faith the Dodgers can beat that wind. I don't know.
They have to beat the wind better than every other team beats everything today.
Yeah, I guess.
And they have to do it. They have to hit home runs. So you have to get 3 home runs out of them, probably, and they have to be your guys. And on top of it, 4 of their guys are going to get pinch hit for today. So just throwing out this is my anti-Dodger take, because if you told me earlier in the year that Syndergaard would end up pitching for someone else and the Dodgers would be playing against them, I would say that I would have the Dodgers in every lineup out of 150. I just don't think, with some incredible hitting conditions out there, I just don't think make a very tough home run spot and making it a priority is my way to go. I prefer them as a mini stack. Now I do have a full Dodger stack, but it's not my priority. Look at this is Rodriguez with hey, what Pingalore is telling you to do right now is exactly what I did in my first build, and it's actually up on our site.
What
was the Rodriguez and Clevenger as my main two? He wants you to do it.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm doing the Giolito with Clevenger.
You got the Giolito, okay.
That's what I'm doing.
That makes sense to me. I have I mentioned I liked Verlander a little bit and Giolito, and I just need to get to some Giolito. Cam likes Pittsburgh a lot. I think Pittsburgh is going to be Pittsburgh is projecting as significantly the highest. Well, Ji-Hwan Bae is projected to be 34% owned. That's pretty wild.
That's pretty insane.
On a 13-game slate. Now, I have some of him, so I feel kind of weird about that. But I have Pittsburgh and Atlanta's ownership is going to be almost identical. And I just think if you're going to play some of them, you might have to get a little bit creative. It's the only issue I have with the Pittsburgh thing. If I'm going to have to play a chalky-ish stack, or if I want to, it's going to be the Braves. It's not going to be Pittsburgh. This is something that Scott's touching on, Sheets, that you mentioned earlier. How do we feel about going with Houston against Houck? I think that's a really viable thing, but I didn't get to it much in my build. How about you?
Yeah, I just didn't quite get to it. I don't know what else to say. I like the Angels a little bit.
Yeah.
You got that $2,500 guy leading off.
Yeah.
Which is convenient.
Yeah. If I had to bet on one side of it, I would bet on Nashcraft personally. The guy just doesn't get hit at all, and like we keep trying to pick on him, and I don't really know why. Going from the second best hitters park in baseball to the third best pitchers park in baseball, I'm just not gonna. Again, and I'm a little too stuck in my ways. You know what I mean? I definitely can get me into trouble. Probably be better if I was mass entering to think this way, but I just look at the fact that as he had the one game. No, I don't think he's given up more than 3 runs in his last 9 starts. And why would I all of a sudden bet on a bad offense in a good pitcher?
Well, they got Trout back. I mean,
oh, is he back in there today? I didn't even know. I forgot that. Yeah. And they got the cheapo, so it makes it easier. Yeah, it's a better lineup, I guess. You get the cheap pieces you can mix in. Yeah, we're working. So Saber, to answer Jolly's thing, I think he's asking you about Saber. Oh, maybe he wants you to go through a Saberson build. I think that's probably what.
Oh, I could do it, but it's like really gonna look awkward. But I'll do it. Let me see something. Angels. Hold on, is he not playing? He's playing.
Which one?
Oh no, hold on.
A lot of guys coming back today. Arias came back for Miami, but that's not relevant to us. But
yeah, I'll do it. Hold on, let me just pull Saberson up.
This has become the most valuable thing. Every time you do something, somebody seems to win.
Yeah, I mean we'll do it. So and you're gonna watch me struggle literally real time. Okay, so I'm gonna start right from the beginning because it just looks a little bit different. It's like annoying. So it's this. So this is FanDuel. First thing, you just pick the slate. You go over here. Let's just kind of see if we can start from the beginning. All right, so let's upload the projections, which is that's good. And it's going to ask what to call the source. I don't know. I'll call it TrueDFS, I guess.
So you're getting it worked out there.
And then it's like shaded. No, because this is okay. 19.41. Okay, so then let's build. Not download new entries. Apply, I guess. New build, I guess. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, so let's try again. There's a new build. We will upload. This obviously can't lose because it's like just impossible.
It's so hard to build. You have no choice. It has to win.
And I have to play it, right? So let's.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna build 50 lineups. I don't want to build 5,000 issues. We'll build 500. We got to set the minimum salary. I gotta do something. I'll put 49,200 just for fun. Wait, not that much. 49,200. 49,200. 20 max, correlation good, sim diversity good. Sim settings, I got to deal with this another time. We'll do this tomorrow. Build settings, and let's just build and see what we get. I know what we're gonna get, by the way. We're gonna be getting like 80% Kansas City.
You think so?
Yep. Yeah. Or Dodgers with all the guys you're gonna get pinch hit for. We're gonna get like all 7, 8, 9s with like Peralta, Hayward, and Bush or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what we're gonna get. Let's just see. So let's see what happens. Let's see what do we do if we get that. All right, that's a good exercise. All right. Oh, not true. Look at that. All right. So let's see. First stack exposure, and then let's get rid of. Before we even see what we have, we'll get rid of the 4 4s. We'll just keep 5-man stacks just for for the sake of this exercise. This. Only 5-man stacks apply. This. I'm going to project, actually, I don't think all the Pittsburghs there, but I still think KC is going to be the biggest one. All right, so team stacks. No, the 64% Dodgers. I know who we're getting with those Dodger stacks. And 20% KC, 18% Angels or whatever. And of the 5-man stacks, like 56% of these are Dodgers. And I promise you that if you look at all the Dodger stacks, well, actually not all of them, but most of them, Outman, Bush, Hayward, right? Well, this one's just Outman, Peralta, but you've got to use these things at the bottom. The Bush, Rojas, Outman,
Yeah, but that's okay.
I guess.
Well, Bush. First of all, Bush is going to be a player. Let me just say that.
Bush isn't bad.
He's a hitter. He's hitting the ball in AAA like crazy. He didn't have a good start with him when he came up before, but he'll be fine. He's going to be a real hitter. Outman is a real hitter, and he's a guy who's going to be a very, very good, probably an all-star at some point in his career very soon.
As far as pitching goes, the guys you mentioned, with the exception of the fact that this build is getting me more Rodon, so that's literally up to you. I don't know what else to tell you. Snell, Giolito, Rodriguez, some Kikuchi, Hogan Harris. I don't mind that. This build gets you a couple like a Verlander lineup. So, but it's it's the same guys: Giolito, Snell, Rodriguez, Rodon, and just all this Dodgers business. So that's what the SaberSim gods are suggesting. Kind of like the Angels. That's my kind of thing here. And I don't know why you wouldn't play. I don't know why you wouldn't play. What's his name? Cal Raleigh every day. It's like.
I totally agree with that. I actually have Cal Raleigh as in my FanDuel main lineup. Like,
oh, really?
One-off, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And no one plays the catcher anyway, and he's 2,900, and all he does is just hit home runs. Big dumper.
Yeah.
I just want to address what Kenneth is talking about, because we see a lot of these numbers keep popping up in our chat. Guys, please don't read the chat and believe that they're actually real numbers.
What do you mean?
He says 8% Houck strikeout rate. Houston with a 471 WOBA. Neither of those numbers are anywhere nearly result in. We don't. Nothing in history resembles those numbers. There's never been a team with that kind of number, and there's never been a pitcher with that low of a strikeout rate. So I don't know where those numbers are coming from, but they just don't exist. So please don't look in the chat and think these are real numbers. That's just not real. And maybe it's meant to be an exaggerated point, but I just don't want people thinking the wrong thing. Because I've done that before. I used to read when I first started playing. I would go through their RG thing, and I would actually think what people were writing was right, and they just weren't. Let's see. All right.
All these guys are cheap, and even all these Seattle guys. I know, and then now Rodriguez is getting back in the act now. I mean, like he's in the lineup tonight too. But I like that. But I do like the Clevenger, like I mentioned.
Yeah, and K9's asking me if I don't know but Kenneth, just to answer, just because I'm curious, what are you talking about with the sample size? I don't. Who are you talking about? You said Houck has 8% strikeout. Or is it just specifically against Houston? Is that like one start?
Is that the case?
I would never look at. I think it's too small to start using, those things. Let me just see. Maybe he's got more starts than I think. No, he's pitched to 12 batters. He doesn't even have one start against them. Just don't listen. Don't look at any of the numbers, please, about that. It's a 12 at bat sample size for a pitcher versus an entire team is not a sample size. It's an inning. It's 2 innings. But I got you. Yeah, I just wouldn't go with it. strange to look at. All right, so to answer the question that K9's asking about Minnesota, it's interesting because there's been so many times where I felt like Minnesota was in a good spot, and this is definitely not one of them. And they just don't. I mean, they're cheap, they're bad hitting wise, and Wade Miley never gets roughed up that badly. I actually like Wade Miley more than I like Minnesota. Can they get to him? Is baseball? Sure. You've probably got some major pinch hit risk with guys like Luplow. He probably only gets 2 at bats. Potentially Kyle Farmer only gets 2 at bats. Michael Taylor potentially may only get 1 at bat. So just keep that in mind. And there's no power in the lineup whatsoever. So it's a little bit of a tough stack to get home. So for me, no Minnesota for me.
You could be right, Pingalore. Maybe we do the Rodriguez Clevenger after all.
That's what I'm with, and that's my first build.
I mean, maybe that could be the nuts.
And I totally and I'm not trying to pick on. I like roll with Kenneth. I totally disagree that Kyle Farmer is a good one-off. I just have to say, a guy who and he's fine if he was batting like second or first or something. But when you have a pinch hit risk for a guy batting sixth, like major pinch hit risk, and he's got like literally one of the lowest home run upsides of anybody around right now, like it's kind of hard to get behind it. So I can't get behind it myself. I guess for shortstop, I guess if you wanted to play him at shortstop, you could get to maybe because he's 2.9, you could play him. Of course, now he's gonna hit a home run. So I just don't get the one-off thing unless it's a super. I guess he's cheap enough. You know what? Let me take that back. I guess he's cheap enough at shortstop, but I would rather play the other cheap guy. I'd rather play Gabriel Arias at minimum cost against the Dodgers, even though I like Bobby Miller. I'd probably rather play Rojas, but I wouldn't use him as a one-off. And I would get to Volpe and then Farmer. So Farmer for the cheap guys would be like my 5th, I guess. Any Mariners? TJ, you missed it. We like the Mariners. Sheets likes the Mariners, right?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
What else do we have in here? It's funny. I have Mariners, but I also in my other lineups I have Clevenger. So
yeah, that makes sense though.
Yeah, the nature of it. I need to finish my builds, so I might get out of here in a little bit. Has it led you to any new thoughts? All your SaberSim building? Yeah.
I have the answer for what's his name? For Pingalore, yeah.
All right.
The answer is Kansas City and the Braves. That's the answer.
Kansas City and the Braves. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. That's guaranteed.
The winner. There's the winner from Cheats himself. So
100%. I mean, seriously, just a total lock. Can't lose.
Yeah. All right. Oh, he DM'd me on Twitter. Thanks, Pingalore. I appreciate it, man. Let me just make sure to. I think my Twitter might be. I might have to get it. What's it called to allow it? Because if we weren't friends, let me see. Oh, maybe he DM'd True DFS, not me. Or maybe he DM'd you.
Cheapo second baseman. I mean, Capra for Pittsburgh. I mean, like.
Oh, we'll be in Vegas on Friday. TJ is asking.
Yeah.
So good question, Kenneth, about the end of the Atlanta lineup. This isn't exactly the sluggers we're used to having down at the bottom, just because we don't have Sean Murphy and we don't have, what's his name? Albies at the top, so Harris is now at the top. I'm totally fine with the bottom of it, but I don't think I would play like a 6 through 9. Well, maybe 6 through 1. I could get behind that. I like all of them, to be honest with you. The one I didn't end up playing really is Nicky Lopez.
You have any I mean, you can't play everybody. Did you play any Josiah Gray?
I'm going to.
Okay. Yeah. So for I mean, not that everybody was cared too much, but Furman is out.
Furman is
not that there was like a big part of everybody's.
Yeah, but he was a guy people were using, so it's good to mention. Yeah. So
But you can afford Perez pretty easily.
Yeah, it's Garcia, Witt, Massey, Perez, Melendez, Velasquez, Waters, Duffy, Isbell. This is funny. We got Cameron asking the same question. I am playing Rodriguez tonight. That's living or dying with it. Like, I did not used to play pitchers against Toronto. They've given me every reason to play pitchers against them, so I'm going to do that.
Who? Oh, yeah.
Rodriguez. Also, I think the kid's going to be awesome. I think and again, Bobby Miller is another one I considered. It's so hard against this team that just doesn't like to strike out. And
right.
He's been sort of working on not being a strikeout pitcher. He's like in that early phase of his career. Once he puts all the pieces together, like next year, you're going to see him just blow people away. Yeah, again, if not for the weather, maybe I'm overrating it. Maybe I'm overrating the 10-mile-an-hour winds and the colder temperatures than most places tonight. But
and what's his name? I didn't realize Alvarez is out for Houston.
Alvarez, that's a big deal.
Did not realize that was the case.
Yeah. No Alvarez.
Not that this was a big part of anybody's thing, but Monasterio. These are just guys that were in my projections. They're not playing. Monasterio is out for Milwaukee. I happen to think that Moustakas at 3,100 is a good one-off, by the way.
Yeah, agree with that.
So look at this. Everybody who's playing. That's good news. We could do. Let's get rid of all the Alvarez then. Alvarez.
Am I making a mistake playing Clevenger over John Gray here?
Probably, but I'm doing it.
It feels like the wrong thing to do.
Yeah, well, I'm doing. I'll be right there with you.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna have to build a John. I'm gonna have to build the Gray lineup sheets. I'm gonna have to build the John and the Josiah Gray lineup.
Oh, sure, why not?
That's probably what you should do if you're playing a team as chalky as Atlanta on this team with so many good options on this slate. The double Gray. All right, and we'll play Dodgers and Braves in that.
Yeah, well, there you go.
We'll just go for all of it.
The whatever his name is from last night, the John Rahm or whatever his name was.
John Rahm.
And I want position. No. That's not bad. 414 with another replacement. Yeah, I can't wait. Not that I can't wait, but I'm looking forward to talking to
Jordan about it.
Name. Yeah, this is like really annoying.
Yeah, it's just something.
Right. Well, I want the catcher now, so I have to go back and do that. Position.
All right, let's see if anything else is popping up in their sheets. Are you using Perez as catcher or first base? I think the answer
catcher
is
now because what's his name is scratched now.
Yeah. I think that's the right. That's what you can do.
All right, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna. Good luck, everybody. There's. Are they go live tonight? I don't know. I'll think about it. All right, I'm gonna run. I'll talk to you later.
All right, bud. Take it easy. Good luck, everybody.